Hey there, guys. This is Jacob Peterson, and I'm going to be talking about my sacred text project on A Long Way Gone by Ishmael Beah. So, the summary of the story is in A Long Way Gone, Ishmael Beah travels on a long journey from his village to find his family. He travels to many different villages, sees many things, and he meets many different people. When he finally finds the village where his family potentially is, he is ecstatic and excited about finally seeing his family again. He is stopped by a man named Gashmu, asking him to help him out with carrying some bananas. Thinking that everything's all right, he goes ahead and helps him. While he is helping, the village is attacked by rebels, and he realizes that he loses his family forever. It's not said in the story if they're killed or they escape, but this is the last time that he ever sees his family. He leaves the village and he eventually stumbles upon another with an army presence where he meets Lieutenant Jabidi. He joins the army for survival and in revenge of his family. He trains to go on to kill rebels. He goes from village to village and he kills many people. Eventually, he is taken by the UNICF, which is like a military organization, and he's taken to a place called Freedom Town to help him with reformation from being a child soldier. He meets a nurse there named Esther, and she learns about the things he did as a child soldier and helps reclaim his innocence. Eventually, he leaves the hospital and he goes to live with his uncle's family, and he feels normal again. He is happy. He goes to clubs and he does, innocent child things. When everything seems finally alright, the Freedom Town is attacked by rebels and the army teaming up, which in that his uncle dies, and him realizing that he hasn't anything else really there, he decides to go live in the U.S. In the story, there are many different characters. There is Ishmael Beah, his brother Junior, a group of boys that helps him along the way, which names are Musa, Akili, Nat, Kenzi, Juma, Morba, and Sadu. In the village, there's Gashmu. The characters he meets in the army are Lieutenant Jabi, his commanding officer, and someone that he looks up to, and then Corporal Graffiti, which is like a trainer for his unit. And then in Freedom Town, he meets Esther, his uncle, who's named Tom, and Laura Simmons, who's a UN lady. The protagonist is Ishmael Beah, and the antagonist is the rebels. The lessons learned in the story are no matter how kind and gentle people are, they might also be capable of brutality. We can see this throughout the entire story, or halfway through the story, when Ishmael Beah, when he joins the army, because throughout the first part of it, he's scared. He doesn't like guns. He sees it as something that could kill people, and he doesn't like it. But when he joins the army, basically he becomes a 180, and he basically becomes what he fears, and he kills people and all that stuff. The second lesson that we learn is that people can survive hopeless situations by holding on to their memories. Ishmael, throughout the entire story, he has memories of his family, not knowing where they are, and then when he, loses them, he has memories of trying to, find his family and stuff like that, or find more of his family and stay with his friends. And that the third lesson that we learned is that the term family can comprise a much broader group of people than those related by blood or marriage. We can see that his family becomes his friends, and then people in the army, when friends and allies get killed, he gets mad and he fights for them. And then Laura Simmons. Internal conflicts faced are: should he steal or should he starve? Should he join the army or be killed? And then the external conflicts is the rebels. What's unique about these conflicts is that they're not just faced by Ishmael Beah, but they're faced by everyone else in the country, because everyone faces the problem to do what's morally right: steal or to not steal, to join the army and survive and screw over some people, or to not do that. And then, of course, the rebels themselves. Some symbolism that's in the story is, the first one is dreams. For Ishmael Beah, his dreams reveal his inner state. It's what he's really thinking. For example, right after he witnesses his first acts of violence, he starts to have at his home village. He starts to have terrifying dreams. He sees visions of people being killed, of himself being killed, and he's constantly dreaming about the dangerous situations he's in. And then after that, when he leaves the army and goes to the rehabilitation center, his dreams return, but this time he doesn't dream about being the victim. He dreams about being the person doing it. He dreams about the terrible things that he's done to people. A quote here is, I stayed awake all night, anxiously waiting for daylight so that I could fully return to my new life, to rediscover the happiness I had known as a child, the joy that had stayed alive inside of me, even through times when being alive itself became a burden. These days, I live in three worlds: my dreams and the experiences of my new life, which trigger memories from the past. The next example of symbolism is the moon. For Ishmael and his family, the moon is a symbol of goodness and joy, and it's seen as safetyness in the calm night. Even after the war, whenever he sees the moon, he remembers the happier times of his childhood. And since we can see the moon as mysterious and calm, and everything's quiet, so it's good symbolism. The next piece of symbolism is guns. Today in American society, we see guns as something awesome. You see in like action movies, like Arnold Schwarzenegger kicking butt, stuff like that. But Ishmael realizes, or he knows enough to understand, that people holding guns, could decide his fate in life with a simple, gunshot. He's powerless. But once he joins the army, halfway through the book, the exact opposite happens. He finds a sense of security in his, gun. A quote is, I stood there holding my gun. It felt special because I was a part of something that took me seriously, and I was not running from anyone anymore. I had my gun now, and as the corporal always said, this gun is your source of power in these times. It will protect you and provide you all you need if you know how to use it well. Another piece of symbolism is rap music. If it wasn't for his rap music, or his dancing performance when the rebels attacked his hometown, he probably would have been killed. And then him and his friends listen to rap music to just lose himself in their thoughts. When the boys are captured in a village before they get to his family's village, rap music saves them by convincing the village that they're just safe and harmless kids and not child soldiers. And then it's also symbolism of innocence, because when he becomes a child soldier, his tapes are burned inside like a fire, and then it symbolizes that his innocence was taken away from him. But later, when he's in rehabilitation, he gets music tapes back, and it helps him recover. And he quotes, "Memorizing lyrics left me a little time to think about what had happened in the war." And then, so the tone and atmosphere of this entire book is that it goes in order. It goes from terrible to a struggle to denial, and then throughout the entire book, because he's denied access to villages, he's struggling to survive, and it's just a terrible outcome. And then when he reaches the village, it's excitement. He finds his family, and then he's horrified to learn that he's never going to learn about his family again, and he gets really mad about it. And then he finds safety in the army, and it's you realize the truth of it when you're reading it, that the army, even though they might see, you might see them as the good guys, in this situation they're just as bad as the rebels. Then there's the struggle with the flashbacks, and then safety with his family. He's happy, excited to see him, or his uncle's family, sorry. And then it's horrific again when they die, and then he struggles to escape, and then that's how it is today. How he is today, this entire ordeal shaped him to be how he is today. But overall, it's horrific, because The Long Way Gone is all about the horrors of war. So it's not exactly something to put a smile on your face and laugh at. But the entire book has a very serious tone to it, because it's not easy stuff that what the reality of it isn't as simple as it just happened. It's something that every village dies, and it's really sad, or a lot of people die in this. And when he gets to his family, his family village, and he loses his family, he's angry at Kashmir. He blames him for it. It's his fault that he made him stay too long. And, it's crazy feeling. The theme of this story is war, or one example is war. We see how during wartime everything takes on a different meaning. Normal life goes out the window, and communities disintegrate as people struggle to survive and protect their families. Ordinary people have to learn to kill, and then adding children into it is just a terrible situation. Another part of the theme is manipulation. When Ishmael joins the army in A Long Way Gone, doesn't seem to suspect that he's being played. His officers tell him, to kill the average family, or kill to avenge his family. They give him a whole bunch of drugs and turn on some war movies. Pretty soon he's a killing machine. It's easy. It's only later he realizes all the ways he was tricked into life of killing. Even though it's not entirely his fault. And then the last part of theme is his innocence. In A Long Way Gone, innocence is a hard word to explain, because it's not black and white, because if you think about it, innocence can go so far, because in the beginning he's innocent because he hasn't killed anyone, but he's not innocent because he's stolen stuff and he's done all the other things that you would see as bad in society. And then when he joins the army, his innocence is revoked because he starts killing people. He doesn't just kill rebels, he kills citizens. It's crazy. And then basically his innocence is stolen by war, and even after years, your innocence still doesn't come back because you live with those thoughts that the bad things that you've done and that you can't ever take it back. So it's really sad to know about it. But it's really crazy to realize what people can do from time to time, and set in a certain situation to see what people do to people. And that's the end of my Sacred Text project. I like you to think about the things that you should be good or thankful for. This is Jacob Peterson, and thank you for listening to my project.